To Thank God It's Football. This is our third episode of the 2019-20 season review. So today we'll be moving on to our next five teams. The first team we have today is Manchester City. They had a total of 26 wins, 3 draws, and 9 losses with a total of 89 points. So, Marcel, what do you think of City season this season?
Um, with City season, see, regards to City, they have to end up either first or second with the team they have. But what was not expected was the gap between the first position and the second position. I would have wanted more competition for Liverpool. That wasn't there. I mean, yeah, they had their injuries also. They had biggest issue was Laporte's injury, but still, with the squad they had, they should have gotten more points.
All right.
But it was
Uh,
still a good season.
okay.
I mean, they
And with
finished
that,
second, so
yeah, that finishing second is not bad, but then, of course, it is Manchester City. So, Shrikar, talking about the defense of Manchester City, how do you think Fernandinho fit into the role of centre back when needed?
See, if you ask me, I'd say the greatest ever Brazilian to play in the PL is probably Fernandinho. No
Okay,
doubt about
that's
it.
a big
I
statement
mean,
you made, sir.
the way he has anchored the City midfield for such a long time, and stepping up to the centre back role when required was something really brilliant and something you don't really expect of someone of his age. I mean, he's not a young person to just suddenly come into a role and sit in it and hold it so well. I mean, obviously Rodri helped, but yeah, I mean, the way Fernandinho hold the City centre back role was really good.
Right. That's a big, bold statement you made about Fernandinho. So, moving on to Arnav. So, Raheem Sterling, 20 goals, Aguero, 16 goals, Jesus, 14 goals, De Bruyne, 13 goals. What do you make of City's attack this season?
Is there really something to say about City's attack? Come on, tell me. It is one of the best attacks in the Premier League, without doubt. And I'd rate them over Liverpool's attack as well.
All right.
City's attack, and the main driving force behind this was Kevin De Bruyne. Hats off to the guy. 20 assists in a season is not a joke.
Agreed.
He equaled Henry's record.
So on that note, what do you guys feel like City's overall season was? Not in terms of rating, but
Can I
in
speak?
terms of, yeah, sure, you can speak. Marcel, come on.
Yeah, so probably for me, when you look at City's PL season, is a disappointment because given how far Liverpool finished, City should have been doing better. But now you look at City's Champions League campaign, it is pretty much still alive and they can pretty much still win the Champions League. So I think if City even wins the Champions League or comes to the semis, comes to the finals also, will be a great achievement for them. And they got knocked out of FA Cup as well. So Guardiola's only hope for trophy this season is the Champions League, and I think put he'll go all guns blazing in the Champions League.
Okay, and one last question I have. What do you guys think of City's matches against the small teams like Norwich where they lost? What do you see? Where do you think they have to improve?
See, it is as long as City goes, it was mentality that screwed them over is what I feel. I mean, see, the moment Laporte left, the moment Laporte was gone, you couldn't see you couldn't see anything solid in their defensive line. They were just completely exposed, and then it is safe to say that even though they have so many players, not all the players have chemistry with each other. They don't have a perfect team with which they stick and play, so there's no chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry lacking. In the attack, it's beautiful.
All right.
Attacks are fluid, very fluid, but
Oh,
defense, there's no chemistry.
all right. So on that note, what do you guys think is the appropriate rating you would give Manchester City for this season? Starting off with Marcel.
9. I give them a 9.
All right, Chico.
Uh, Probably 8.
Arnav.
I would give them an 8.5.
All right. I would also give them around 8. So it's safe to say that they had a 8.5 season.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. So moving on, next we have
Uh,
Manchester United, which is also Shrikhar's favorite team. So we'll allow Shrikar to have a first go at Manchester United. Uh, what do you make of Manchester United season this year?
I mean, the lockdown and luck definitely helped. We were screwed over by injuries. I mean, Ole didn't have tactics definitely at the start of the season, but then it wasn't all up to Ole for the tactics because he didn't have a team to, use the tactics with. It was overall, I mean, it was a decent season. Finishing third was definitely something good, but then it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the lockdown, probably. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes definitely helped.
All right. So moving on, my next question, I'll ask this to Arnav. So Rashford and Martial together got 17 goals each this season, which is a total of 34, and a, another 11 assists as well. How do you think, moving forward, that these two are going to work together, and what do you see for the future between Rashford and Martial?
oh, they definitely have a great future, and especially at Manchester United. I feel Ole is also using them in the right position. Marcus Rashford towards the right and Martial in the center. After the lockdown, since Bruno's arrival, all the talk has only been about Bruno, but people keep forgetting these two guys and how influential these two were. Probably helped Bruno blend in through the Premier League as well. It is these two who should be given credit
Agreed.
as well, along with Bruno.
Rashford was on the left, though. Just saying, I mean, you said right.
Yeah,
Huh.
my bad.
Okay, moving on to Marcel. Bruno Fernandes joined in January. What kind of impact do you think he has made on the Manchester United team, and will he be able to continue his form in the next season as well?
Um, the impact, well, you can see it's in the table itself. They are third right now. Where were they? At the start of the season, they were tipped for relegation.
By
Now they're third
ESPN.
by ESPN. Yeah, now they're third. They finished third, and I'm telling you, Ole's job was saved because of Bruno.
Okay, that I agree with as well.
You know, this United season can is pretty much like a movie. Let's say the halftime was Bruno's signing. First half was all about United's downfall, and second half is how United recovered from it. This reminds me of a Bollywood movie, if I'm not wrong. They were
Right.
responsible for their own downfall, and they were responsible for their own build to come to third place as well.
All right.
And about his form, then I think he'll continue this form. Like he's a good player. He's a very good player, genuinely good
And
player.
he
And
has
every ish.
accustomed really well to the league.
So my
Okay.
point was he will continue this form in the next season also.
All right. So my last question is for Shrikar, because of course Manchester United fan and everything. Shrikar, overall, where do you think Manchester United has to improve from the season that they have had?
Uh, See, according to me, there are three main positions where we need signings. One is a left back, one's a centre back, and one is a right winger. Obviously, right winger. Everybody knows what's going on with that scene, but back goes, we need someone who's fast enough to actually complement with Maguire. We do have Bailly, but then he's really injury prone. Probably if Bailly maintains his fitness and plays the way he does naturally, we don't need anyone else because Lindelof is a decent backup. But I would like a centre back, probably someone like Joe Gomez. But let's see.
All right. So on that note, let's rate Manchester United season for 2019-20, starting with Shrikar
I'd give them an 8.5.
or Master,
And 8.
Arnav.
I'd give them a 6 considering the amount of money spent on Van Bissaka, Dan James, and Harry Maguire. Finishing third, just scraping into third was not
All right.
what I
I think I
expected.
agree with Arnav here, but I'll give them a 7. So I guess 7.5 or 8 is a good rating for Manchester United this season. Moving on, we have Norwich next. Norwich was one of the teams that got relegated. They finished in last position with Timo Pukki scoring 11 goals and Emilia Buendia being their highest assister with 7 assists. They they only managed to win 5 games. What do you guys think of Norwich's season, starting with Arnav?
Well, talking about Norwich, there isn't pretty much anything much to say. They had good players. They have individually good players. Pookie was good at one time. Cantwell was good. Pundia was good. Max Aarons is a decent wing back. But they we can say that they didn't probably come in good form together at once. What Norwich would have hoped for rescual. But then, yeah, this team has some potential. They could come back to the
Okay.
Premier League next season.
So Norwich finishing 20th. Many tipped them to get relegated immediately. Marcel, do you think that they have done as well as they could have, or do you think they could have improved a little more?
Um, they definitely could have improved a lot more. Probably in the defensive region, they had good plays and they played some really attractive football, like the game against City, where they won at Etihad. They played
Yeah.
really good football, very attractive football. They just should have continued that, maybe changed their tactics here and there. But I feel that all the other teams, they kind of got what they were playing, and they countered those tactics.
Okay.
They had to change it up a bit, try something else because it wasn't working for a point of time.
True. True.
They could have done better.
They could. So Shikar, Timo Pukki at one point in time was leading the goal scoring charts, and with the resurgence of Todd Cantwell and Max Aarons, they had a few good players in their ranks. Do you think that these players should stick with Norwich and get them back into the Premier League, or do you think that they should move to bigger clubs in the Premier League? What is your say on that?
See, as far as what I think goes, I mean, see, mm, Cantwell definitely. I mean, see, Pookie is still a little old, and I don't know how many Premier League teams will really want him or need him at this point. But someone like Cantwell, who's really good in the midfield, we've all seen that. Someone like Emilia Bundeya, Bundia and Cantwell, these both are really good midfielders who can probably light up many midfields in the Premier League and elsewhere. I think Cantwell will actually be a really good signing if a team like Liverpool makes him,
Okay,
their player, because I mean, yeah, they need a midfielder.
all right. So, would you guys like to say anything else about Norwich?
Uh,
I think, where Norwich went wrong was a transfer season. I don't recollect Norwich signing any good players for this Premier League season. They probably needed someone energetic in the midfield, but injuries hit them bad as well. Zimmerman was out for
Yeah,
most of the season, their centre back. So, but then Norwich have a really good record of coming back to the Premier League, at least from the 2000s. So let's
all
hope
right.
for the best for
So, on that
Norwich.
note, let's move on to rating Norwich's season. What do you think, Shika?
I'd give them a 5.
Five. Marcel?
uh, Two.
Two. That's a bold
Yeah.
statement. Considering the fact that they were tipped to get relegated. All right, never mind. Arnav? Three. Okay,
Three.
I will go with Shika here and give them a five. So it's safe to say that their season was a bit of a 3.5 to 4. So moving on, we
Yep.
have Newcastle next. Newcastle finished the season on 44 points with 11 wins. Jonjo Shelby being the highest scorer with 6 goals, and Saint Alex Maximin being the highest assister with 4 goals. So Arnav, what do you think of Newcastle's season this year?
Newcastle is a damn lucky club. Honestly, when you look at Newcastle, I still don't know how they managed to survive the season, but they did, and they did in good style. their 40 million signing, Joe Linton was pathetic this season. I don't know what else to say. And that is why they lagged in the goal scoring department. It is pretty obvious. John Joe Shelby, being a midfielder who was who was injured for a lot of time and still managed to be their highest
True.
goal scorer, is a sad thing for Newcastle, and especially when you spend 40 million on somebody like
Yeah,
Joe Linton.
that's also true. So, Shikar, John Joe Shelby is a midfielder. So, what do you think Newcastle went wrong in their attack?
See, where do I think Newcastle went wrong in their attack is again, I mean, see, end of the day, when it comes to playing in the Premier League, it is high intensity. Okay. And you should have a team that is able to take it. You should have an attack that is able to, actually push defenders away from you. I don't know if Joelinton is quite that player, but also he is new to the club, and I don't think he was even settled in fully. So I don't think I probably give him one more season to see where they stand, and that's pretty much it.
All
You
right,
did see Alan Saint Maximin actually starting to build up his game at the end of the season only.
all right,
So I'd say probably next season they'd look better.
all right. So, moving on to Marcel. So, Dubravka in goal. What do you think of his season this season? He really did save Newcastle on many occasions. How do you think his season went? And do you think he should stay at Newcastle? And do you think he should move away and go to a bigger club?
Um, Dubravka had a very good season. He, like you said, he saved them many times, which is true. I think he's had the most saves in the Prem. Did he?
I'm not
Uh,
too sure. We'll have to check that. But yeah, you can
But
go
but
on
he's
if
had
you.
over 100 saves, that's for sure.
All right.
He and about the staying in Newcastle, if he gets an offer from a better club, he has to go. He's proved that he is a really good keeper, and he can play in the Prem. So if he gets an offer from any other club, a club better than Newcastle, which aims higher, he should go.
Okay. And my last question is on Alan Saint Maximin. So, Arnav, what do you have to say about his season this season, considering his slow start, but then his resurgence after the lock?
Before speaking about Saint Maximin, I would just like to add to what Marcel said. Marcel, he made
Yeah,
140 saves
Wow,
this
that
season
is a
for
140
Bravka.
saves.
commendable. That is a commendable. That's
140
very
saves, yeah.
commendable. Yes, certainly.
One
uh,
thing I really liked about Saint Maximin was his pace and his runs. He is someone like
Okay.
a Traore, if I'm not wrong. And I think that comparison is apt because both are fast
All
and
right.
strong. And Maximin is also looking to cross the ball rather than shoot something like
Okay.
Traore.
Interesting fact. In the 2019-20 season, Martin Dubravka has the third highest passes for Newcastle.
Says a lot.
Third highest number of passes their goalkeeper has.
Wow, that is really commendable as well. Okay, then. So we'll move on to rating Newcastle season. Shikar, what would you give Newcastle?
I'd probably give them a 6.
6. Okay, moving on to Arnav.
I give them a 3, but this season they survived only because
I
of
agree with
Dubravka.
that. I certainly agree with that. Moving on to Marcel.
I'd give them a 5 only because of Dubravka.
Uh, yeah, I would also give them a 3 because it's not expected for such a big club like Newcastle, and yeah, it was a very poor season for them. So yeah, a 3. So what do you guys think should be the rating, overall rating? A 4?
4.
A 4,
Probably.
yeah.
All right. So moving on to our last team for this episode, we have Sheffield United. They at the beginning of the season were tipped to be relegated, but they had a tremendous season with, sorry, they basically had a very, very good season. So, starting with Shrikar, what did you think of Sheffield's season this year?
It was a brilliant season, man. I mean, Chris Wilder for the win. I mean, like you saw it in their gameplay. Their gameplay was really terrifying for most teams.
Agreed. I mean, Chelsea lost 3-0
And
to them, so
obviously,
that is still very salty and it's still in my memory. So, I'm a little bit.
and obviously there was Dean Henderson. Nothing like you can't take shit away from him, but still, I mean, it wasn't only Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson is someone you actually have to mention because of the way he kept. But overall, their whole team was brilliant.
Okay. So, moving on to Arnav, what do you think of Chris Wilder's first season in the Premier League? Do you think that he deserved the Manager of the Year award instead of Klopp? Or do you think that, and what else do you think of Chris Wilder? How was his season as an overall manager?
Personally, for me, I am a huge fan of Chris Wilder's tactics now. The 3-5-2 he plays, the way his wide centre backs overlap and the defenders drop back, that is something pretty amazing. And the Premier League, hasn't see didn't see something like that, and that is why Sheffield's game came as a shock to everyone. Coming back to Chris Wilder, probably should have got the Premier League Manager of the Year award, but I'm no one to comment about that as well. But one thing I felt sad for Sheffield was their game dropped after the
Yeah,
lockdown
that's also
period,
true. They had a
probably because of congestion of
maybe.
fixtures, maybe because their game demands high levels energy.
All right. So moving on, for me, this season, my favorite part of Sheffield's game were their two wing backs, Enda Stevens and Baldock. So, Marcel, what do you have to say about Enda Stevens and George Baldock?
Um, like Arnav said, his tactics, Chris Wilder's tactics really suited the team very well, especially both of those players. They were good in defense. They were brilliant in attack. The amount of assists they've racked up, especially Ender Stevens, it's very commendable for a team like Sheffield.
All right. And
And
I have one. So yeah, sorry, continue.
Ollie McBurnley, he's been their top scorer for the season, but he's only scored 6 goals, which shows that the goals that are scored are not only um, you know like how some clubs depend on the sole striker to score. Sheffield is not like that. Like Landstram has scored a lot of goals. He is
All right.
also, and he's racked up a lot of assists too. I think Sheffield, they've had a dream season.
All right. So my next question for Sheffield United is, what do you think they need to do to improve to get European football next season? Any one of you can answer.
Probably have to change their tactics.
Okay.
I mean, see, their tactics did work, but then
Uh,
I don't think they'll work 2 seasons in a row. I mean, see, they were beautiful tactics, brilliant ones from Chris Wilder, but I really don't think they'll work 2 seasons in a row. I mean, Leicester won the season. They use the same tactics next season. Didn't work.
Okay.
I think they have to strengthen the squad, get in, good signings. They need to have a good transfer window, get in some good
All
signings, and like Shrika said, change the
I
tactics.
think
okay. So I have one fine. Sorry,
I
sorry.
think
Yeah.
in this
Continue.
system, just a second. I think in this system, Sheffield should bring in another striker, because McBurney is the kind of a false nine kind of a striker. He drops back, wins the ball, and creates the ball. Instead, someone in place of McGoldrick and Billy Sharp, someone to replace these two. To someone to fit in the position where Billy Sharp and McGoldrick played this season. Some good striker, probably Josh King or someone.
So that's exactly what I was going to ask you. So since now Bournemouth has been relegated, and you saying that they do require a new striker, what do you think of either Callum Wilson or Josh King, or even maybe a Timo Pukki, who can come in as a backup for Sheffield? What do you think on? one of these people joining Sheffield, and do you think that they will strengthen?
The question is posed for.
Anyone, anybody can take this question, but if you want to answer, Arnav, you can.
I don't think Timo Pukki would be a
All
good
right.
fit in the system. They probably need a target man.
Okay.
So that is, oh yeah, someone good
All
in the
right.
air
So on that
because
note,
their
let's
wings
give
back
our
cross a lot.
ratings for Sheffield United. Shrika,
I'd give them a solid 9.
Marcel,
9 from me as well.
Arnav. Yeah, I was just about to say, even I would
I'd
give
give
them a
them a
10
10.
considering how far they've come from being one of the favorites to be relegated to 8th position. So it's safe to say that they had a season worth 9.5. Or let's just round that up to
Chris
10.
Wilder gets a 10 though.
Yeah, Chris Wilder.
Yeah,
Chris
just give it
Wilder
a
Yep.
gets a
10.
10. That's for sure. Okay, on that note, we have finished our third episode of Thank God It's Football. Thank you guys for listening. We would love to hear some of your feedback. You can either leave them down in the comments below or you can share with us on Instagram. Thank you. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you again soon.